They remind you to follow your heart, to trust your feelings. But the Stoics cautioned, your emotions are deceivers. They will whisper comfort when you require discipline. They will scream fear when you need courage. They will blind you with anger when you most require clarity. Consider how many lives have been destroyed in one instant, not through the weakness of the body, but through weakness of the mind. A man loses control and loses his family. A woman consumed by jealousy kills off her relationships. A leader frozen by fear hesitates at the time he needed to move. Their collapse wasn't destiny. It wasn't luck. It was feelings, betraying them at the very moment when they needed strength. The Stoics did not deny that emotions exist. They recognized that anger, fear, desire, envy, all of these are human things. But they also recognize something most of us still do not get. If you allow emotions to take the driver's seat in your life, you are driving straight into ruin. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he said is straightforward. You can't control if life provides pain, betrayal, or injustice, but you can control your response. And that one decision, response rather than reaction, makes the difference between the strong and the broken. Now observe the world around you. Social media live on outrage. Businesses benefit from your wants. Politicians are tricking your fears. If you don't learn to control your emotions, somebody else will. And when that occurs, your life is no longer yours to command. You are being manipulated like a puppet by the strings of anger, lust, greed, or fear. The Stoics provided an alternative. Not the way of repression, but the way of mastery. They didn't flee from emotions. They confronted them. They learned about them. And most importantly, they knew how to transcend them. Because at the end of the day, emotions are fleeting impulses. They are bursts of flame in your head. But reason, discipline, vision, these are the tools that endure beyond the tempest. The guy who acts according to emotion is like a boat tossed about by every gust of wind. But the guy who acts according to reason is like a captain who knows where he is going, steady even when the waves are crashing. This is why emotions deceive you. They pose as truth while being nothing but noise. They say to you, this suffering will never pass. When it will, they say to you, you need this pleasure now. When it consumes you later, they say to you, you are not strong enough. When history shows us humans are stronger than nearly anything. The Stoics understood, the man who controls himself cannot be betrayed. Not by rage, not by fear, not even by mortality. And in this tale, we will reveal the secret means emotions have betrayed so many people, and the ageless Stoic practices that can shield you and make you unbreakable. Imagine this. A soldier. On the field of war, the enemy advances, and for a split second, fear becomes his lifeblood. His heart beats, his body cries, run away. But if he hears, he dies. Not because the enemy was more powerful, but because fear deceived him. Now substitute the warrior for you. Fear betrays you when you don't go for the job because you might fail. Anger betrays you when you yell at your loved ones for something insignificant. Desire betrays you when you exchange your future for a fleeting enjoyment. Time and time again. Emotions vow security, power, or bliss, but bring devastation, Seneca warned. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. What did he mean? He meant fear creates illusions. It tells you shadows that resemble monsters, so you freeze while opportunity slips away. It warns you that risk is dangerous, but disregards that stagnation is worse. Fear pretends to guard you, but in actuality, it chains you. And fury is worse. Fury feels strong, yet it weakens you. Anger was characterized by the Stoics as temporary madness. When you submit to it, you are no longer in charge. It leads you to blurt out things you would like to take back, do things that cannot be undone, and hurt those you care about. Fury deceives you into believing you are strong, when in fact you are weakest. Desire isn't any different. The Stoics understood that desire was infinite. Pursue one enjoyment, and another arises. Stuff yourself until you are stuffed, and the next day you crave more. Purchase the automobile, and before long you'll want the house. Desire never stops. And in that never-ending pursuit, you are a slave. A man ruled by desire is never free. His feelings are his masters. And jealousy is the silent poison. You look at somebody else's achievement, and rather than being inspired, you feel resentful. You want them to fall, not grow. Jealousy deceives you by robbing you of your peace and focusing your eyes on others' possessions, rather than creating what is within your reach. Stoics realize something critical. Emotions can be present, but they can never be in control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Do you get the lesson? It is not the world that betrays you. It is not even the emotions themselves. It is your willingness to believe the lies they tell. Fear says, you can't. Anger says, destroy. Desire says, now or never. Jealousy says, you are not enough. Each voice is a trap, a betrayal waiting for the moment when you are weak. But the Stoics had their tools: awareness, reason, discipline, reflection. They worked at training their minds like soldiers hone their blades. They wrote every day, reminding themselves of facts that emotions cause you to forget. They practiced adversity to toughen against fear. They waded into discomfort to drain desire of its power. They contemplated death, so jealousy and anger did not get a foothold. The truth is straightforward. Emotions are not your enemy. Yet if you let them be your master, they will betray you every single time. Only by stepping back, observing, responding with wisdom rather than reaction can you become free. That is the Stoic way, and it is just as necessary today as it was 2,000 years ago. Take a look around. How many lives are shattered because someone relied too much on their emotions? How many wars have been initiated by anger? How many careers ruined out of fear? How many families annihilated by jealousy? History is full of examples, all confirming what the Stoics already understood. Emotions, given free rein, are bad companions. And if you don't control them, they'll control you. Consider your own experience. How many times have you looked back and thought, if only I hadn't responded like that? The anger flash that left you slamming the door, the fear that kept you from speaking up, the desire that led you to overspend, the jealousy that destroyed a friendship. In the heat of the moment, feelings are always truth. But later perspective returns, and you see, you were betrayed. The Stoics did not wish for you to erase emotions. They wished for you to be able to see through them. To insert space, Epictetus taught, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That reaction is where freedom resides. That pause, that moment of lucidity is where you can choose. Will I be controlled by emotions, or will I control them? But contemporary life doesn't assist. Today, emotions are not just natural instincts. They're engineered tools. Algorithms feed on your outrage. Ads pander to your cravings. News media magnify your terror. Social media stokes your jealousy. Each click, each scroll, each ping is crafted to rile you. And when you are riled, you are controlled. That would be slavery, according to the Stoics. Because if you are not in control of yourself, then what is freedom? Seneca said it better. No man is free who is a slave to his body. We can revise that. No one is free who is a slave to their feelings. Picture Marcus Aurelius browsing your feed today. He would have men outraged at strangers online, women measuring themselves against photoshopped perfection, youth pursuing likes that emptiness leaves, whole cultures torn apart because anger and fear are cheaper to market than wisdom and truth. He would shake his head, for he knew humans haven't changed. The tools have. But this is the trick the Stoics left us. Feelings lose authority when you beam reason on them. Anger melts away when you take a step back. Fear thins out when you confront it. Desire dwindles when you stand firm with discomfort. Jealousy suffocates when you exercise gratitude. Each feeling has an antidote, but only if you are willing to step back and not get swept along. Marcus wrote each day in meditations as a form of exercise. He told himself, "You might as well leave life right now. Let that decide what you do, say, and think." Why? Because death puts things into perspective. That insult you wanted to be angry about, is it worth it if tomorrow is your last day? That craving you want so badly, will it be worth it when you are dead? That fear that holds you back, is it greater than the reality that you are going to die anyway? The Stoics conditioned themselves by living with death in thought, adversity in experience, and self-discipline in practice. This conditioning made them masters of their feelings. They did experience fear, anger, and desire, but those feelings no longer enslaved them. And here's the good news. You don't have to be an emperor like Marcus or a philosopher like Seneca to do the same. All you have to do is begin practicing. The next time you feel anger arise, stop. The next time fear whispers, act in spite of it. The next time desire lures, wait. The next time jealousy stirs, practice gratitude. Every small win is a step toward liberty. The man who responds blindly will forever remain a slave. But the man who responds with sense becomes unshakable. And when you are unshakable, the emotions no longer deceive you. They simply pass through you, as clouds across the sky. There is a secret peril of emotions that most folks miss. It isn't merely that they get you to be silly in the moment. It is that they define the narrative you tell yourself afterwards. Anger makes you believe you were right. Fear makes you think avoiding was prudent. Desire makes you feel that indulgence was unavoidable. Emotions don't only dictate your behavior, they rewrite reality. And if you accept the narrative, you are stuck. The Stoics knew this trap well. They called it the impression. Every emotion begins as an impression, a feeling that rushes in, uninvited. Someone insults you. Instantly, the impression of anger strikes. Your heart races, your mind floods with retorts, your body wants to lash out. But the Stoics taught the impression itself is not the problem. The treason occurs when you consent, when you affirm that this impression is reality and permit it to guide your action. Consider a warrior in combat. Fear comes naturally. But if he embraces fear's impression that he should run, he is a traitor to his duty, his comrades, his valor. Consider a commander. Anger at treachery comes naturally. But if he embraces anger's impression and attacks wildly, he demolishes trust and destabilizes himself. The wise man, the Stoic man, senses the impression, but hesitates before he consents. In hesitation lies strength. Marcus Aurelius did this every day. He would remind himself, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Pay attention to what he is doing. He is taking the impression, the seed of emotion, and shaping it into reason. Anger turns into patience. Fear turns into courage. Desire turns into discipline. He doesn't allow the impression to remake his reality. He remakes it himself. But contemporary humans rarely stop. The world is too quick. Warnings require immediate responses. Information incites immediate outrage. Commercials appeal for immediate purchase. Emotions peak, and we respond before rationality can kick in. And so we are deceived, again and again. By rage, by terror, by lust, by jealousy. We believe we are living independently, but we are merely responding puppets manipulated by strings we cannot even perceive. The Stoic path is not to smother feelings, but to tame them by slowing down. Through practicing silence, through thinking before acting, through asking, "Is this impression true? Does it benefit me, or is it a trap?" Epictetus provided his students with a simple drill. When an impression comes at you, tell it, "You are merely an impression, not the thing you seem to be." This one sentence creates space. It serves as a reminder that anger is not reality. Fear is not fate. Desire is not need. Jealousy is not justice. They are mere impressions, and you get to choose not to agree. But here is the uncomfortable fact. The majority of people don't want this discipline. They want to indulge. They want to rage, to fear, to crave, to envy. Because feelings feel alive. They want the tale feelings tell them, even though it is a falsehood. And for this reason, most people remain slaves their entire life, not even aware of the chains which enslave them. The Stoics did otherwise. They opted for the more difficult route, the route of knowing, self-control, and logic. They understood emotions as storms. You cannot abolish the storm, but you need not walk into it. You can stand firm, observe it pass, and be left unscathed. And that is the challenge they leave us with. Will you be a storm chaser, racing wherever feelings lead you? Or will you be the steady mountain, unmoving, unshakable, seeing storms blow in and out without losing your peace? In the end, feelings will always attempt to deceive you. Anger will tell you that revenge is strength. Fear will teach you that escape is safety. Desire will inform you that gratification is bliss. Envy will assure you that comparison is inspiration. But the Stoics understood this. All of these voices are liars. Marcus Aurelius was the ruler of the greatest empire on the planet, but he struggled with the same feelings you struggle with today. He encountered betrayal, loss, temptation, war, and death. And still, in the midst of it all, he reverted to one idea: master yourself, or be mastered. Because the man who cannot control his feelings cannot control his life. Seneca cautioned, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than necessary." That is the betrayal of fear. It causes you to live pain twice. Epictetus informed his disciples that liberty begins the moment one knows that one has control over one's reactions. That is the betrayal of anger. It causes you to think you are powerless when actually you can opt. You see, feelings are not your enemies. They are messages. They tell you what is important to you. But when you allow them to drive you, they distort. They magnify. They lie. And if you accept the lie, you betray yourself. The Stoics didn't leave us their wisdom to make us emotionless. They left it to make us free. Free to feel, but not be ruled. Free to hurt, but not be broken. Free to love, but not be enslaved. Free to live, but on our terms, not on the terms of whatever passion seizes us in the moment. And so the decision is yours. You may continue to allow anger to guide your tongue, fear to guide your decisions, desire to guide your routine, and envy to guide your sense of value. Or you may follow the path of the Stoic. Stop, think, and govern yourself. You may move outside the tempest. You may quiet the falsehood. You may decide on reason, not reaction. Because when you control your emotions, you control your life. And when you control your life, nobody, not luck, not defeat, not even destiny itself can betray you. So bear this in mind. Emotions will always bang on your door, but you don't necessarily have to let them in.